I held my mother's lifeless body in my arms, tears soaking her wrapper. The woman who gave me life, who sacrificed everything for me and my siblings, was gone, taken by the same dark powers that made me rich. The mansion, the luxury cars, the vacations, none of it mattered anymore. I screamed until my throat burned, begging God to turn back time. But time never rewinds, and I knew deep down that her blood was on my hands. I am Ifeanyi, and this is my story. I lost my dad when I was just 7. He was a bricklayer, and one rainy day, he fell from a 2-story building. He never made it home. My mom was just in her 30s with 5 little children, became a widow overnight. Life hit us hard. We lived in a small leaking room in Asaba with barely enough to eat most days. My mom did every job she could find, selling akara in the morning, washing people's clothes, and even carrying heavy loads at the market just to make sure we didn't starve. I watched her break down in tears many nights when she thought we were asleep. By the time I turned 9, I started hawking pure water on the streets. I ran after moving buses, shouting, "Pure water 10 naira," under the scorching sun. When I wasn't selling water, I washed plates and fetched water for restaurants. Anything to ease my mom's burden. It wasn't easy growing up that way, but I promised myself I would make something of my life. I managed to finish secondary school, sometimes reading with candles when there was no electricity. And by some miracle and a lot of hard work, I made it into the university. University life was tough. While my mates went to parties, I worked night shift as a security guard to afford handouts and food. I barely slept, but I stayed focused, determined not to waste the sacrifice my mom made for me. Then I met Chiamaka. She was beautiful, kind, and made life feel a little less hard. I loved her, and I thought she loved me too. But in my final year, she left me for a guy who drove a Lexus. That heartbreak shattered something inside me. I started hanging out with some boys on campus who were living large, spending money like it grew on trees. They told me about Yahoo Yahoo, that is internet fraud, how easy it was to make money by deceiving people online. At first, I resisted. I told myself I wasn't that kind of person, but poverty makes you vulnerable and pain makes you reckless. I dipped my hands into fraud, telling myself it was temporary, just enough to help my mom and siblings. But the money came slow, and my friends laughed at me, saying I was still thinking small. They introduced me to something darker, Yahoo Plus, money rituals. They told me it wasn't a big deal, just a small sacrifice, they said. A bird, a cat, maybe a few drops of blood. I hated the idea, but the hunger in my siblings' eyes and the sight of my mom coughing blood from untreated illness weakened my resolve. I did the rituals, and money came fast. One week I was sleeping on a thin mattress on the floor. The next I was driving a Benz and spending nights in exotic hotels. I bought my mom a house, sent my siblings to the best schools, and suddenly people respected me. Guess who was ignoring me, lined up to be with me. But money from the devil never comes without a price. One night, I had a dream. A dark figure whispered in my ear, "Your mother's time is up." I woke up sweating. My mom called me the next morning saying she felt sick. I rushed her to the hospital, but doctors found nothing wrong. Yet her health declined rapidly. I tried everything: pastors, native doctor, even traveling to Lagos for better treatment, but nothing worked. She withered before my eyes, and one night she died in her sleep. That was the night my world collapsed. I cut off my friends, abandoned the fraud life, and gave away my wealth. I couldn't live with myself knowing my greed had cost me the only person who truly loved me. I spent months in isolation, battling guilt and depression. Eventually, I found my way to God. I gave my life to Christ and started over. Today, I run a small business in Asaba. I live a simple life and I am content with what I have. I still cry for my mom. I still carry the weight of my past, but I use my story to warn others. No amount of money is worth a human life, and nothing you gain from darkness comes without blood on your hands. Thanks for staying to the end. Please like, subscribe, and share.